Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in the series, In the Light of Islam. And with that, I greet you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon you. And thank you for being with us in this series, in which we have sought to clarify the Islamic position with regard to problems which our viewers have sent in. The Quran mentions Jesus as the Word of God. So does the Bible. What is the difference between the Word of God in Quran and the Word of God in the Bible? This is an interesting question, one which unfortunately some Christian preachers, priests, ministers, etc., have tried in order to convince Muslims that Jesus is God. They've tried to promote this through the Quran, taking the verses where God refers to Jesus as the word of Allah, Kalimatullah. That this is the same in the Bible, as it states there, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among men. This is a story, Greek mythology, philosophy, which has been introduced into the teachings of Jesus and deviated it to turn Jesus into God incarnate. Now, what is the difference? Allah explains in the Quran that when He wishes a thing to be, He only says the word be, and it is. This is for all of creation. All of creation is by the word of God. However, Allah has referred to the word by which Jesus was created as special, referred to Him as the Word of God in a special sense because of His miraculous birth, being born without a father, and being a prophet from birth. He is a special category. So Allah refers to Him as the Word of God. But He was a human being. He was a created being. Only the completion of the creation equation. The creation equation until the birth of Jesus was incomplete in terms of the creation of man. We had man created without father and mother. We had man created without mother. Man created without father and mother is Adam. Man created without mother is Eve. Then we had man created with mother and father. That's the rest of creation. The only one left out of this equation to complete it was man created without father. And that was Jesus. He was like Adam, like Eve, like the rest of creation in the sense that their creation is from nothingness. This is by the will and the word of God. It is all a miracle. But for us, because the vast majority of mankind is created from father and mother, then the creation without a father is unique. It is miraculous by the will of God in a special way. But had God willed, He could have created all of mankind without a mother, or created them all without a father. And then the miraculous one would have been the one created with a father and mother. This is all by the will of God. So the concept of Jesus, may God's peace and blessings be upon Him, being the Word of God in the Islamic context in the Quran, is that he was created by God's commandment. No man was involved in the process of his creation. God commanded that he be, and he was. In Christian mythology, called theology, they teach that the Word of God, this is from Greek philosophy known as the Logos. The Logos, which means word also, was in ancient Greek philosophy the intermediary between God and his creation, through which the rest of the creation came into existence. Because for them, God was a unity, and the creation was a multiplicity. Logically, they couldn't understand or accept how multiplicity can come from unity. Unity should produce unity. This is what logically they concluded. So what they have in their philosophy is that the universal soul, part of the universal soul becomes manifest as the Word, the Logos, which is in this world element. And from that Logos comes the rest of the creation. So that aspect, which was a part of Greek philosophy, which was in those people, when Christianity came to that part of the world, in order to make it attractive, their ideas were absorbed, their philosophies were absorbed, and the true teachings of Jesus was overpowered. They were overpowered by these philosophical concepts, and they were used by those who sought to distort the teaching to make Jesus God. So we find in the beginning of the chapter known as the Gospel according to John, the statement, in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is the philosophical argumentation that the Word, which is described later as becoming flesh and dwelling amongst men. So we're talking about Jesus here. Jesus, according to them, was the Word. That was there in the beginning, meaning that the Word was eternal. Jesus was eternal. And he was with God, and he was God. Something which is so confusing that the vast majority of Christendom, they just accept this blindly. No way to understand how the Word was with God, and at the same time it was God. Of course, some scholars have looked into the wording in the Greek manuscripts, and the wording actually indicates, when you look at it, the term used for God is really a definite term, which really means the God. And the term which was used in terms of the word being God was a God. So actually the proper translation, according to some scholars, is that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. This is really promoting a concept of there being two gods. The God, whom the Word was with, and the Word, which was a God. In any case, it is nonsense, it is illogical, and it is false. God is God. He does not become his creation. That is a contradiction in terms. Because if he became his creation, he then became in need of a creator. He became in need of a creator. I know some will argue, well, cannot God do all things? Is God not able to do anything? Anything he wishes, anything? Yes, in the general sense, yes. Anything, God can do anything which is befitting with Him being God. But to include things, when you're saying of anything, to include in that things which means He's no longer God, this is contradictory. Can God die? Can God not exist? You know, as the philosophers used to like to come with it to the Christians, can God create a stone which is too heavy for Him to lift? You know, this is all nonsense. No. These all contradict God being God. Therefore, when we speak of God being able to do all things, these are all things which are in keeping with Him being God, nothing which will make Him less than God. So, the concept in Islam is that Jesus was created by the command of God, without a father. And as such, He is the Word of God in a special sense. In Christianity, He has been turned into God Himself. That God became a man, which is against the teachings of all of the prophets, from the beginning of prophethood with the first man, Adam, till the last of the prophets, Muhammad. May God's peace and blessings be upon all of them. With that, dear viewers, I would like to conclude this program. Thank you, dear viewers. And with that, I bid you farewell. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.